what's going, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Brought to MSOT Rocks, Rock will Thrive. Hey, guys. This is another great episode that we got coming your way, and I'm not going to lie. You guys are going to enjoy it. It's with a band we've had on before. We did their first ever podcast with them, and it's been over a year. It's about time to bring them back. Before we get started, though, I want to thank our sponsors. First off, Phoenix Fitness. Yeah, I've had them as sponsor for a while, and you guys know me. Concerts, mosh pits, they're my thing. I do not want to leave them, so I got to make sure I have the energy and the stamina to go and do that. Also, I got to make sure I have the strength to, push people around in the pits because, well, I don't want to be flying all over the place, so I hit the gym. Cardio, weightlifting, that is my game. But I got to be able to recover right. That's where Phoenix Fitness comes in with different pre-workouts, both stim and stim-free, BCAA recovery compounds, proteins, creatines, multivitamins, anything you need to achieve your fitness goals and to make sure, your stamina is all the way up there. Boom, Phoenix Fitness has you covered. Our listeners get 15% off using the code MSOTD at checkout, fnxfit.com, link description of the podcast. Also want to thank Custom Debuts for sponsoring this podcast as well. Custom Debuts creates these different styles of posters for whatever band, whatever album you want. And what you do is you tell them what band, you tell them what album you want. You tell them what if you want it on like museum grade paper, if you want it on like a wood frame, if you want it on canvas, or if you want it on like an aluminum or like metal print. What they will do is they will take the artist, they'll take the album, whatever it is, or the song, whatever it is, and they will make this certain poster for you with an album artwork, track listing, or like a vinyl with their lyrics in it, whatever it might be, whatever you want. They will send you a proof of what it is, and you can make as many edits as you want. And then when you give them the good go ahead, they will print it for you and send it your way. So if you want to do that, check out Custom Debuts, the link description below the podcast as well. Use the code CPP10 to get 10% off your entire order. So thank you, Custom Debuts, for being a sponsor of the podcast. Now, this band I was talking about, I had them back on in, I want to say, September of 2020. The band is called To Begin Anew out of North Carolina. And it's been over a year since we've had him on the podcast, and I got to see him play live at Blue Ridge Rock Fest. I got to pay up my first rounds on me deal to Cody, and I'm like, you know what? Let's bring him back on the podcast. We talk a lot about what they're currently up to, how their year went with all the different live shows they played, their new music that's going to be coming out in 2022 that they're working on right now, and the tight-knit North Carolina scene. You also heard us talk about that with Hollow Intent, Seasons, and Dying Oath as well. And we're just going to keep bringing them on even more with different bands from that North Carolina scene because all those bands are absolutely incredible to have on. But this time around, it's back to Begin Anew. Are you guys ready? Let's go! Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. One thing you've been seeing recently has been that, Virginia, Eastern North Carolina scene. We've been featuring a lot of those bands on the podcast lately. We've had bands like Dying Oath. We've had Seasons back on. We've recently had Hollow Intent on as well. And, back in about September of last year, I got to interview a band from that scene as well. And I get to see them play live at Blue Ridge. And, I mean, it was impossible for me to go against my own mindset and be like, okay, I want these guys back in the podcast. So bing, bang, boom, here they are. So please welcome back the guys from the band To Begin Anew. So guys, welcome back.
What's up?
Woo! What's going on, guys? How's life been going out there in North Carolina, in this day and age that we are living in?
It has been, this year has been very busy for us. We've actually been pretty wide open since last time we talked to you. Like you mentioned, Blue Ridge. We've had a couple other festivals that's come up that we've played, and
this was the year we first started playing shows.
Yeah, this was the year that we actually got off the ground and got able to actually play some shows. We've got some pretty cool shows underneath our belt. We've opened up for some pretty well named bands. It's 2021's been off to a bang for us.
Blessed.
We can call 2021 the first year of To Begin Anew. I'm not going to say the year of To Begin Anew because that just seems like, this would be the biggest year ever. No. This is the first year of To Begin Anew.
Official.
Yep.
Yeah, so what other shows have you guys played outside of the Blue Ridge, where you've opened for some of those incredible bands that you've talked about, just so that everyone gets to know, what bands you guys have been able to open up for?
I'll probably get Shane to help me on some of these because we like I said, we have been busy. We opened up with Adelina's Way. We've played with them a few times.
Leaders Way, yeah.
We just recently, one of the last shows, it might have actually been the last show we played. We had a show at Cherry Point Marine Base, which is about an hour and a half away from here. It was an event where Fuel, everybody knows who Fuel is. They were playing. We got offered to come in and open up for them. So we got to play a really cool show on bass with Fuel. That was a highlight.
Non-point.
Played with Non-point a few weeks back.
Dropout Kings.
There's been a lot, man. We've been wide open, and I know that's probably not even half
Tantric
of
too.
Tantric, yeah. Tantric was actually our first show as a full band back.
We played with Faith and Scars for our full show.
They were on that same bill.
Were they? No,
Yeah.
they weren't on that bill.
Okay.
Yeah, they were.
Well,
That was in May.
Playing too much, we can't even remember our own shows.
Hey, that's a good thing though, especially after last year. If you're playing so much that you can't remember all the shows you guys are playing, that's a good problem to have. Not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
We're forever grateful. By the way, Kevin, since last time we talked, we've actually got a new guitar player. I think
Blue Ridge.
I met him at Blue Ridge.
Yeah, we met at Blue Ridge, but for the people watching now, compared to our last interview, Mr. Chris Vance has joined the band.
He is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
so
you saw.
yeah, I saw. So because Chris is, new to the band, I'm going to have to ask Chris to introduce himself with the 3 questions I like to ask everybody. So, Chris, first question is, what is your name? Second question is, when it comes to Begin Anew, what do you do in the band? The third question is, I want to know some fun, wacky, crazy factor story that you have that will hopefully make me fall out of my chair, hit my head on my table, and give myself my 9th concussion ever. I will give you a couple examples I heard to kind of get the ball rolling, because one of them does involve a band that is, I know you guys probably know it because they're from the exact, area that you guys are. One story I've heard since I've had guys in the podcast has been, there's a band from Florida where they chloroformed their lead singer. They dragged him to a beach in Florida and they buried him halfway in the sand. They put a bunch of ketchup around to make it look like his legs got bitten off by a shark when he came to. One of my favorites comes from the band Waking Terra. So I know you guys know them.
The story you're talking about, I watched that one. That was terrible. Shame on Zach for doing that. That was awful.
But it's funny as hell to tell though with the you got to go to the bathroom and you just relieve yourself in a cup and you throw it out the window only for the cup to come into the back window because it's still open and to give the drummer a literal golden shower. Let's see what else is there, because there's another. I think one of the funniest one I ever heard. Was with this band called Empty. They were driving from Atlanta to Miami. Their van broke down, so they got a box truck and they attached their trailer to it. It's hot and it's humid down in Florida, and the cab of the box truck can only hold 2 of the 5 people. So they have 3 people in the back of the box truck with beer, and as they're driving, crossing the border between Georgia and Florida, they get pulled over because big truck and plus trailer means you got to stop at the weigh station. They didn't know. But when the cop pulls them over, it's like, okay, you've got 3 guys in a box truck. What the hell is going to happen? So when they pull over, all of a sudden the guys come out of the box truck out of nowhere, just in their underwear, drunk, and there is a air mattress inflated on the floor of the box truck. When the cop asks what they were doing back there, one guy blatantly blurts out, "Dude, we were wrestling back there."
No, that's not going to cut it.
They
that's a situation.
They end up getting out of it though.
I mean, if you can, you can. That's
if you can make a cop laugh.
Don't forget, Vance was asked a question.
I was asked 3 questions.
3 questions.
My name is Chris Vance. I play guitar for To Begin Anew and another band called Death of Uriah. And the third question, the worst thing I've ever done to somebody, was in my second band. I got a hold of 6 Viagra pills and crushed them up into a 44-ounce big gulp. And had a show 3 hours after I did that, and the musician at the time was our bass player, and we went to McDonald's and sat in the play place, and he couldn't figure out why he had a rock hard dick for 3 hours. Then we all started screwing with him, going, what's your problem? There's kids around here, you're popping wood. He's sweating bullets, because I didn't know, but I mean, sick can kill somebody, but whatever. We were young. And and he had a pretty solid dick. Like, it wasn't a small one. It was noticeable, and he couldn't get away with tucking it in his waistband or anything like that. And yeah, so he's walking around McDonald's with a rock hard dick, and I got the keys, so he's just kind of stuck there until we go to the show. Played the entire show with a raging heart on, and barely lived to tell about it. But yeah, man, that's I can come up with like off the top of the dome.
Oh my god, it's funny as all hell. But if you do that to the bassist, Shane, you might want to watch out for crushed Viagra pills and a big gulp.
Yeah,
that'd be a fun night.
That was one of the worst things, yeah, by far.
That's only one of the many, probably publicly unknown Chris Vance stories.
Oh yeah.
The
I gotta be careful what I say, because I'm in this band. I can pretty much say and do whatever I want because I'm still new and I know these guys really well. They're in my other band, it's like wide open, but I got to kind of watch what I say because sometimes the stories involve people that are in the room with me. So,
Hey, I mean, I've heard stories where people like the Waking Terror stuff where it's like they were all in the room and it's just like stories about each other. Hell, there were a couple bands from Michigan where one guy told me a story about a different band that he was in. A couple weeks later, I had that other band on and they told me the same story from a first person account, and I'm just like, well, this is funny shit. So like hearing more funny stories from you guys, it just I absolutely love it.
I can tell you that what you know about Waking Terror's stories, you maybe know about 10%. Those cats go hard in the paint behind the scenes.
Oh, and in front of the scenes.
Yeah, I've seen some shit.
They're amazing live.
They're a great band, great group of guys. They're 20 minutes up the road from us. They're probably one of the more predominant bands here in the region. But yeah, I mean, when they're not playing and they're just hanging out and goofing off, if they get the right amount of alcohol and poor decisions in them, they do a lot of fun stuff. Let me tell you.
Well, shit, I'm gonna have to come out to North Carolina and just like hang out in that little area that you guys are all in for a while. See some shows, end up probably getting into some tour pranks, and probably be the one that gets pranked from you guys and Waking Terror, and just have some good stories to tell.
We have a very close knit group of bands here.
Oh yeah.
Because like my other band, Uriah, these guys, To Begin Anew, Waking Terror. You mentioned Hollow Intent earlier. Head Trip. Who else am I missing? Break the Skyline.
Defile the Crown.
Faith and Scars.
Faith and Scars. Like, we all know each other. We all help each other. Like, there's a big joke that like at the end of the day, we're all like one band with 50 friggin' members, and that's never been more true than right now. There's no competition in it like there was 10 years ago, or like you'll see in other scenes where like it's like who can do the best or be the best at what they're doing. It's not about that. Everybody's helping everybody here now, and that's helping quite a bit.
What I'll say about that is because when I talked to Will from Hollow Intent, he said the same thing, and he brought up Death Uriah, he brought up To Begin Anew, he brought up Waking Terror, brought up a lot of those bands that you mentioned as well, in terms of how when it comes to the scene that you guys are in, it's not about competition, it's about family, it's about helping each other out, because if one of the bands ends up succeeding really like rather well and really starts to grow, that's just going to put more focus in on that scene itself, and every other band is going to end up benefiting from that. So instead of trying to be in competition and bring each other down, why not help each other out? Because in the end, if life turns out, maybe not, getting big and touring the world or whatnot, you made a bunch of friends and you're part of a family there. So, and that's the worst that can happen. That's a really damn good thing.
Yeah, we're really lucky to have the music scene here in Eastern North Carolina. We do. I feel like it's probably one of the more dominant music scenes, probably on the East Coast.
Oh yeah.
And we had another venue in Jacksonville just reopened back up since COVID.
Yeah,
and they got the Limelight, which was called the Tar Heel. They got Breaking Benjamin coming next month, doing an acoustic set.
Another thing I'm touch on too, as being the new member of this band, because they don't give themselves enough credit, even though I know some of them personally. I got asked last minute to join this project, and they brought me in with open arms. And there are not 3 other musicians in the state, let alone the East Coast, that work as hard as these guys do to put out what they're doing. They don't like hearing that, but trust me, I've been on the shit side of wrong when it comes to musicians. This was by far the easiest transition I've ever made from going to one genre to another, but not just that, but from one band that I'm a family with to a new band that I'm a family with, and I'm just as tight with these guys as I am with the guys I've been with for 10 years. So they deserve the credit for that.
I think they deserve credit as well, but I think it's just also the scene that you guys have cultivated there deserves the credit as well, because again, it's that idea of family is really coming out as well. And plus, the other part on the two is the fans that come out to those shows as well, because when I was at Blue Ridge, I was always in the pit for every single show, basically, and there was a bunch of group people, they had these shirts that said Pit Crew on the back of them. It was a group called the Icon Pit Crew, and a lot of them are from North Carolina, and it was something where it was...
That was one of them.
Yep.
They're just fantastic people, ran incredible pits, made sure everyone was safe. Hell, if someone got knocked down, there's like 10 people coming to pick them back up. And they end up calling me Milwaukee the whole entire time because they had no idea what my name was, but they knew where I was from for some reason. So that's what they stuck with. When I got home, I literally joined the group on Facebook, introduced myself, and I had multiple comments like, dude, it's Milwaukee. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm a part of this scene in a way. So woo! So I can totally agree with you. I mean, not only just a good scene in North Carolina or across the East Coast, but if you look all throughout the United States, that North Carolina scene where you guys are at, it's an incredibly tight-knit family vibe where, yeah, everyone's tight with each other, but it's not so tight-knit to the point where, you have to try and forcibly break in there if you're someone trying to get in there. No, everyone's going to welcome you with open arms. It's tight-knit, but it's welcoming.
Well, to an extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're toxic at all, I'll call you on that shit immediately. I get in trouble with that with both bands to an extent because I'm very quick to be okay, yeah, these guys they claim they're from here, but they're not from here. And then they come in here, they play their set, they shit talk other bands and they bounce, and then they bitch about not being able to get a show again. Well, that's because I'm pretty good friends with the promoter at one of the clubs. We're doing a DIY show Saturday that Cody and Casey are running sound for. I mean, these guys are literally putting it together from nothing. But yeah, I mean, we give you that chance for sure. And, if you put in and you're able to support everybody, for sure. But if you come in and want to be an outcast and make it a point to be, I don't know, backstabbish, I guess, you'll get ostracized really quick.
That's understandable. Welcoming to the point where it's the ability to enter into that scene and be welcome in it is easy, but you have to kind of follow by that family vibe where, yeah, everyone's here working together, where if you're going to be that one outlier that's just going to try and one up everybody, it's, the family's going to end up bringing you down in a way.
Well, trying to one up people by downing other people is never a good way to go about anything.
Yeah. Just shit talking,
And we get, I'm fairly dug in with a lot of the bands here, and I can pretty much tell who's legit and who's out for themselves. And the beautiful thing about it is when we go to shows, even if it's nationals, with this band here, for example, we go to shows, we're not playing all the time, but I go to a lot of shows, but I've had to dial that back doing double duty on my side. But what I'm trying to get at is we see a lot of the same faces. And it's funny because there's national bands playing, then you go to a local night and it's the same faces. And then you start to realize over the past 3 months, the audience has changed from who is big band X bringing to, hey, me and the boys are coming out. Me and the boys start as 5 people a year ago, and now it's 100 of us coming out just to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
Not so much focus on who the big headliner is. And we're trying to convert that to where on local nights, you can get 200-300 people in there and it's all a community.
That's something that is incredibly important, I think, to have, just because it's going to not only, bring more people into the Eastern North Carolina scene, but what it's also going to do is going to create that family vibe to the point where people are going to want to go to shows because they're going to want to be around the people that they enjoy being around. It's going to create that vibe where people that might, feel like an outcast in other parts of society, where they really connect positively with the scene and really connect positively with the whole entire family vibe of it. That's, something that they really look forward to. It's something that brings them joy and happiness in life. So whenever there's a show out there, whether it's, you get a bigger headliner come in, or whether it's just a smaller local show where a lot of you guys are running together, what's going to end up happening is a lot of people are going to show up, and it's just going to create that whole entire thing where no one's going to be there and going to be mad. Everyone's going to be there. Everyone's going to have that family vibe. Everyone's going to be happy to be there. And when every single band goes on, it's no one's going to be leaving the room. Everyone's going to be there enjoying spending time with the family and the crowd, but also supporting every single band that's on stage.
It's already starting. It's already happening. Yeah. A year ago, it was barren, if I'm being honest. But, between COVID, I should say 2 years ago, right toward the end of it, people were burnt out with shows. They were sick of seeing, the same repetitive. See, this is where I get in trouble. They were sick of seeing the same stuff over and over again, which I get, and, nowadays you can go and just click on YouTube and watch an entire set.
Or even Twitch.
Or Twitch. Now Twitch is different than YouTube, in my opinion, because Twitch, you can engage with people, even though it's virtual. But people got lazy, they got complacent. But the beauty of it was COVID took that away from them and said, guess what? That's all you get now. So for a year and a half, roughly, people couldn't purge. They couldn't, coalesce with their friends anymore or go out and see a band. And I think that might have helped tremendously with what we're trying to do now in the scene.
People appreciate it.
Because now that it's been taken away from them, it almost feels illegal, but beautifully illegal to go to a show now. You know what I mean? Because people are still getting back into it, but it's like back to the old way of, you realize that there's a different enjoyment when you go to a show versus watching it,
you don't get the same vibrations.
Yeah, you don't get that gravity, that push and pull. You know what I mean?
You just don't get you don't get that energy while watching a live show on a screen in front of you than you do being in front of it. Because when it comes to like, you can feel the sound, you can feel the energy, and with being around other people, you kind of feed off that positive energy. Every single show I go to that I completely remember like almost every single detail of, it is because of the positivity and the happiness that just radiates from those moments. I mean, hell, like I've gotten the time like earlier in October, I like broke my finger in a mosh pit, and I taped it up and I kept going. I'm like, and everyone was really cool about it. It's like everyone's like, yeah, like, dude, this is freaking awesome. But like everyone was kind of keeping away from my finger, even though I was holding it against my chest. But like it was somewhere I didn't want to leave because that was where I was the happiest. Ended up getting checked out later, so I'm like, okay, we're still good there. But it's something where, in a moment where maybe I should step out, I'm like, this is still what's making me happy. Like this is where I'm just feeling the best that I could possibly feel. So I'm gonna stick here because, well, I've dealt with this before, no big deal. But when it comes to just being in those live shows, like, it's a different feeling, and it's just a positive feeling that just kind of just gets the endorphins going in your brain. I forgot what the chemical is, but it's just like, dang.
Serotonin.
Yeah, serotonin. Like every time I go see a live show, serotonin levels spike. I'm just like, yeah.
Yep, for sure.
So, because I remember before we were supposed to record this one a couple weeks beforehand, but I know you guys had the show with Fuel that like was going to happen. It was like, because I remember Shane messaged me. I'm like, you guys are going to go play a show with Fuel? Yeah, do it, because that makes, a lot more sense. So I got to ask about that show. Like, how did that show end up going? Because did you say you played on an Army base for that one?
It was a Marine Corps base. It was amazing, man.
Such a good experience.
It was a really cool experience for us because I felt like it gave us a chance to appeal to a particular new fan base, because us being from Jacksonville, it is a military town. So we have that presence, but this crowd was nothing but military. And I mean, it was packed. There was a ton of people out there, and it was also a family event. People involved in service were able to bring their kids and their loved ones that stayed there on base.
Free beer tasted.
Yeah, they had free beer for everybody that was out there. It was a really cool experience. Definitely something I'll never forget. I mean, growing up, Fuel was a band that kind of got me interested in music. I grew up whenever they were in kind of the peak. So it was really cool to kind of check, not only to see the band, but actually go back and say, hey, I've opened up for Fuel. I've shared the stage with Fuel.
You're friends with the guitar player on Facebook now, aren't you?
Something like that.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, I mean, that's awesome. But on top of it too, is just the idea that show. I mean, first opening up for Fuel. It's a bigger band. Plus for you, Cody, it's like, a band that you've grown up with, and now you're friends with guitarists on Facebook. Just seeing how that community ends up growing with, from where you guys are, all of a sudden, you're adding other bands into the scene as well for North Carolina. So there's more eyes on top of it. But when it comes to being able to play at a Marine base and play in front of a bunch of people that are serving for our country, potentially having to go to war if that ever happens in the near future, but people that are putting their lives on the line in order to protect us, and being able to give them a show that they're going to end up being able to remember forever, giving them a positive experience with their family, with their friends, and just really bringing that family vibe of the North Carolina scene to that. I mean, that's incredible right there.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we're one of those bands, you kind of got to be careful on the way you say things now. But everyone here in this band is affiliated either directly or indirectly with either first responders or military. So that's something that means a lot to us. To even be given the opportunity to do that meant a lot to us.
Oh yeah,
everybody was so nice and appreciative. So cool to talk to everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got to meet the commander of the base and got challenge coins. That was really awesome. Not sure if you're familiar with what that is or not, but that's a pretty cool thing.
Basically, it's like a thing in the military. Like if I go to a bar and I like haven't seen you in forever, I pull out a coin, and if you don't have that coin, you owe me a beer.
Yes.
It's like that.
Yep.
But if you have that coin or a coin of higher rank, then I owe you a beer.
Yep.
Yeah, I had no idea what that was, so thanks for explaining that, Shane. But that just, again, adds more to the whole entire family vibe of the scene and just ends up bringing more people into it and, again, giving out the positivity of everything you guys are doing and just bringing it to a military base. Because, Shane, weren't you in the military before?
Yeah, I was. I did 7 years in the Army.
So what was it like, being able to perform for other service members specifically?
That's the thing. It's like when I was in, I would get really hyped because like Wee Man came down when I was in Afghanistan, and I don't remember the band, but I was just really excited about Wee Man.
That was a tight budget year,
and that was just like seeing that and seeing and having the fun, because a lot of times when you're away from your family and all that, it can get pretty down. But when you have that, it's really fun. And just the fact that we were able to return the favor, I guess, is the best way to say it.
It's a thank you.
It's like a thank you, like it just felt amazing to be able to do play for them all.
What was also really cool was that, we're obviously, we're not a metal band or a heavy band by any means. I don't think so.
We're a rock band.
We're just, we have a variety to us. I don't really think it's easier just to say we're a rock band.
We were a metal band.
But, yeah, we're obviously quite a bit heavier than Fuel, and the beer and the alcohol was flowing out in the crowd, and we had some mosh pits that started happening, and like see the MP, the military police, like intervening to like just be there just in case. I was like, yeah, we've made it. We've definitely made it.
Oh, if that's the case, then you guys definitely have made it to the point where, yeah, it's something you're bringing some heavier stuff as well. Because I remember at Blue Ridge when I think it was the last song you guys played when all of a sudden I heard Cody do some unclean vocals. I'm in the front just like, oh, I did not know that was coming. That was freaking awesome. So being able to do something like that, but also, with your style of music, it's not, just saying like as a rock band and keeping that as kind of like, it keeps it more open. So when people are able to listen to stuff like, okay, they might have some like, something more southern rocky with hard rock in there, something a little bit more, on the heavier side, maybe something that's like, maybe some Seven Dust inspired stuff. There's a lot of range you guys can go with, but being able to bring that to a military community, bring more of a variety, whether it comes to, some of the stuff on the heavier side, some of the stuff on more like the hard rock side, and just allow for everyone to just really get into it and really, again, feel that family vibe and create moments like starting a couple of mosh pits and have the military police come to the side and be like, basically the guys on the wall, like, alrighty, we're just standing here because we just don't want, bad things to happen, but
we just didn't want to see a kid get punted.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Before that song, we gave like a 5-minute disclaimer of like, you're going to move, but don't kick a kid. Two things. One, if I'd have seen a kid get kicked, I don't know how I'd react. Probably not the way you'd want to. And two, you want everybody to be safe because they were pretty good and, tipsy by the time we got to Shade of Red.
That's one thing that I think we probably talked about a little bit last time that we talked to you, Kevin. But we try to like if somebody comes to our show, we want them to at least walk away with something positive about our band. So we try to keep our music really diverse. You got to see firsthand. We have a little bit of rock, a little bit of hard rock, a little bit of metal, a little bit of punk. Just that is one thing that I like, especially with this group of guys that we have now, is that everybody still continues to kind of bring their own element that makes this a diverse band. And it makes it a fun band to be in because you don't have to worry about the next song that we write is going to sound like the last song that we did. It's always an ever changing thing, which makes doing this that much more fun.
it also allows you guys to experiment more with potential ideas that you might have, because if you're going to kind of stick with a very similar sound like you had on your first single Arise, I mean, yeah, it would have still made sense, but it would have kind of, potentially pigeonholed you in a certain way, or kind of like, kept tunnel vision out where it's like, okay, you can really only stick within this side. But by being able to like start out and really like branch out in different areas where get a little bit of rock, hard rock, a little bit of metal, go a little bit of punk in there, bring some unclean vocals in there as well, it allows you to really expand on your horizons and let every single influence that you guys have be able to come into the writing sessions, be able to come into the music to the point where when you get to a live setting, it's you guys are able to have so many different diverse sounds, so many different diverse songs to really build one hell of a live show off of.
Oh yeah.
I think Chris's leads like automatically make us heavier.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
when you hear the new stuff coming out, it's
yeah, we're actually in the studio right now, and to go a little bit further on what Shane said. Chris doesn't really say it a whole lot, but Vance is probably one of the best guitarists in the state. I mean, he definitely brings the groove. He always says that he's the spice on the band.
Yeah,
And,
see, drum and bass, meat and potatoes, vocals and guitar is like the salt and the pepper and the spice, in my opinion. It's upbeat, but that's from like my acoustic ska root stuff that I did way back in the day. But there is a little bit of truth to that, and I agree with Cody. I think I definitely pepper the sound a lot different because I was a fan of this band before I was in it, and they have a really solid sound. But Cody's the primary songwriter, and that's no secret. But what my favorite thing about it is jumping on with him is that he's very meticulously easy to work with, and I know those two words don't go together very well, but we can kind of feel each other out, and I know where he's going before he's going to get there, and he knows where I'm going to stop before I'm able to.
And we all get our input,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that speaks to just initial chemistry that you guys have together especially between you, Chris, and Cody, because if, Chris, you're able to understand where Cody wants to go with the song before he even gets there, and Cody knows where you're going to get to before you stop, it's just something where that chemistry is going to allow for little certain things that, when it comes to meticulously creating certain songs and certain parts of songs, you guys are able to really pick those out. But it's going to be much easier, like you said, because of that chemistry, and then bringing the others to really just let this full entire thing, get some input here, really let this thing become a full band experience. It just adds to the chemistry, adds vibe, and allows every single influence you guys might have to potentially come in and create something, because you might have an idea for a song, like Cody might be writing something, and all of a sudden here comes Shane with some wacky idea out of nowhere. It seems like on paper, it doesn't make
the wacky ideas.
Yeah. It doesn't, and it could seem like it doesn't make any sense at all on paper. But then all of a sudden, okay, let's just put it in here, see what happens. And you put it in there, and all of a sudden, it makes kind of sense, but it opens up another idea to use that influence in a different way. And all of a sudden, boom! Now you guys got a freaking hit right there.
Oh yeah, I mean these guys know, as far as the way I write songs, man, and it's probably something you and I have talked about in the past. I don't try to, like, whenever I write something, I try to keep it as simple as possible. I've never been a songwriter that, like, if we all sat down in this room and tried to write a song together, I'm not the kind of writer that can do that. I've got to get in a right place, like, mentally, for me to really focus in on what I'm trying to do. That's just the way I write. So whenever I write stuff, I try to keep it really simple. That way, whenever I present it to everybody else, hey, this is the idea that I'm working on. That's whenever the good things start happening, whenever everybody kind of starts adding their own thing.
Easy to build off of.
That's where it becomes good and catchy. I do the very simplistic stuff. Primary to me is just making sure that the lyrics make sense. All the other stuff can come later.
It's like a piece of paper. He's put dots, and then we just come in and connect it,
And that's another good thing about the family aspect, because if it's butt ass, I will tell.
Yes.
Real good. But if it's good, I'll tell them, like Trial by Fire. Okay, so they put a lot of weight on my shoulders that first 3 weeks, because I came and they were like, all right, we got the garage Saturday, and I was doing double duty with both bands. And then after that, they're like, oh yeah, and by the way, next week is Blue Ridge, and you're going to be playing in front of 5,000 people. I was like, cool, man. Hope I don't drop the ball.
Yeah,
this could be potentially career ending.
His second show with us was at Blue Ridge.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
man.
Well, shoot, they really threw you on, like, put you in the fire. It's like, okay, you want to be in this band? All right, cool. First, we were going to go, first couple weeks. Oh, got a show here, you got a festival that you could potentially have like a crowd of like 3, 4, 5,000 in front of you. Yeah, you good?
Yeah, it was. I appreciated it because I work really well under pressure when it comes to stuff like that. And like I said, the template was there. I was just an addition to that. Like they already had all that stuff nailed out. So the only song I was scared of was Shade of Red, because me and Casey couldn't coordinate worth a damn all the way up until we played it that day. And then finally that day it went off without a hitch. And I was like, cool, well, if it's going to go right, it needs to go right here. And it did. So we were fortunate. But I mean, like I said,
pulled it together.
Cody and Casey, they've been playing in other bands for, from years back and stuff like that we're not, I guess I can't talk about.
Don't tell our age.
Help me, stepbrother.
Oh, but I mean, you can tell like the meat and potatoes is right here, man. I was just an addition. I'm glad I came in when I did. I have no plans on going anywhere. Like it's I've never been a part of something. I've been a hired gun in several different bands, but I've never had a band just be like, all right, you're in. And now we're in Cody's living room, and like I don't feel weird. You know what I mean? Like, because there's some bands that will haze the shit out of you, and I've been one of those people that hazes people, especially in my other band. Because like, if you're gonna have to go with the metal crowd, it's not like this crowd. This crowd's very welcoming, and everybody's warm. And the metal crowd, we throw tables and chairs and shit at each other. Like it's a whole different vibe. So, but yeah, man, it's definitely a good thing we got going. Just between the four of us. I mean, I always say that if it ended tomorrow, I did everything I wanted to do. But this band will probably do it for another 10 years at least with the guys that are in it right now. Because, I mean, we're friends outside of being bandmates. And that, to me, is more important than anything. You know what I mean? Like, because if you don't jive as individuals outside of a band setting, you're not going to be worth a damn in a band.
Shane. What?
Shane hates Cody.
Yeah,
No,
you don't know. Shane's actually playing that. He's like looking for a new single like right now. We were talking about it earlier today. No, to go on what Chris said, this is, I feel like it's an equal machine, and we have had some lineup changes since we last talked to you.
Who was the guitarist last time?
I don't even remember.
Wow.
It's yeah.
Well, I'm
Put me on the spot.
I'm curious to see who the next guitarist will be.
No,
next time they talk.
That's actually what I was getting ready to tell you, man. We have had some lineup changes, and I personally, the guys that had to either step down or either we asked them to step down, I feel like we all ended it on good terms with them. We didn't have no issues with them. But this is the most solid and like full feeling that this band has been since the beginning. So I'm really happy where we're at. Everybody just if it feels good, it feels good.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
I was gonna say absolutely. But when it comes on top of it too, because when I saw you guys play at Blue Ridge, honestly, I did not know that was Chris's second show. It felt like Chris had been, in the band playing live show with you guys for a while at that point, because it was just the crispness of the way that you guys played with each other together during that show. And I know there, when it came to Blue Ridge, I heard about some of the issues that went on there. I saw some issues that went on there. We don't have to go into that if we don't want to, but
we didn't have no issues.
We didn't have any issues.
It was smooth for us.
It was great.
We didn't have no issues. I have a van with air conditioning and I had bottled water, dude. Like, I understand they had some issues on the crowd side, but I can't speak to that. We had a great time. As a matter of fact,
like the staff and everyone was great.
We want to go next year. So if you see this interview, we had a great time.
We have to send this interview their way and be like, yeah, To Begin Anew had a great time. So get them back on the bill.
They mentioned us. They commented on our video that we did on TikTok. So
yeah. And Shane, he'll get it to him. He finds ways, man. Like Shane can communicate with like carrier pigeons. The shit would blow your mind.
All of a sudden, the office where they put everything together for Blue Ridge, all of a sudden, in like a couple of months, they're going to have a barrage of carrier pigeons come their way with letters, and it's all going to be written from Shane.
But I mean, I do appreciate what you say about how it looked like I had been with him for a while, but Cody sent me the templates, like I said, 3 weeks prior, but I have my own home studio and I work with a label outside of this, just doing, stem tracks and stuff like that. So, I mean, I sat there for hours and hours and hours, and Cody initially, like, he finally was like, you're overthinking a lot of it because I'm just such a hard on, because it's not at the time, it wasn't my band, it wasn't my material, so I had to make sure that it was on point 100% because I didn't want to be the one up there clamming up or screwing it up for everybody else. I didn't want to be the cog that, wasn't working.
That was me.
So essentially, I put in, I don't know, I probably put in 65 hours of playtime before Blue Ridge, but as far as my stage presence,
I'll cut you.
I've had that for a long time because I've been doing metal for so long.
I mean, me and Vance was actually practicing to set in our hotel room the night before Blue Ridge. Yep. Just making sure that we were dialed in.
Mm-hmm.
The night before that, you were practicing an acoustic
set.
Yeah,
we were practicing an acoustic set we got told last minute we had to do, and guess who was the only one that brought an acoustic guitar?
that was an interesting.
It was fun.
Series of events, we'll say.
Yeah.
How that played out.
Yeah, it was fun though.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'll say interesting series of events. I mean, Cody, you got me intrigued that because I totally forgot you guys did do a small acoustic set during that festival as well.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Shane, you want to explain?
Yeah, I'll explain and then you can go. I'll just explain the beginning. We got told initially that we didn't win the acoustic set.
So let's back up a little bit. So there was a contest that we were involved in, where they were dialing, you could submit, and then they would dial down and pick out a few bands to do an acoustic set at the Hells of Poppin' tent that they had out there. And long story short with that, we ended up getting, I think, to like the final round, and then we didn't move on. So we were told, it was a narrow thing, but you guys didn't make it. We appreciate what you did. And we're like, okay, well, very well, no problem. I mean, we're still playing Blue Ridge anyway, so it's not a big deal. So we get to just go have fun that day.
And we decided we didn't need our acoustic gear.
Literally the day before Blue Ridge, basically, it's like 1 a.m. I get a message asking us to play the acoustic set.
Yeah, we were in the parking lot when you got the message. I was having a smoke.
And none of us brought any of our acoustic instruments like we had planned, but Chris. Yep. He brought a guitar. Yep. So it was able to work so that way Cody and Chris can get on stage and do their thing.
Like, it was probably the most intimate I've ever played any type of show, if you will. It was Vance with an acoustic guitar and me with a microphone.
Yeah, if you're going to be vulnerable, that's the time to do it, because you're inside of a circus tent where they like light each other on fire and shit.
There is a video of that on our Facebook. I think Break New Grounds on Facebook.
We used to play shows in Hot Topic.
True.
So,
you're so edgy.
that was intimate shows.
Yeah.
People looking at clothes around you. It's weird.
But next time, no matter what, I'll have
for it.
The acoustic instruments regardless,
Just follow the Boy Scout motto. Always be prepared, man.
Yeah, that's my paranoia that paid off, man, because I bring way too much crap to every show we play.
He's like the scene music guru. Like, he's like a musician, a tech, just all around everything.
Yeah, our driver.
Yeah.
I check a lot of the local guys' amps and stuff like that. I can do amp mods and different things, or just fix amps for a lot of the local bands that are here. And on top of that, me and Wake and Terra's guitarist Ben Schreider, we both do setups for a lot of the guys here, so we try and keep everybody's gear moving. But like I have what I consider a bulletproof EVH EL34 head, and I use that with these guys. But man, I brought freaking Blue Ridge. I brought the 6L6. I had the Ivory. I had the Stealth. I had the EL34.
Couldn't make up his mind.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that. It was just like I like having backups. But my problem is that like I'll find one backup and I like it, and I'm like, yeah, I need a backup for that backup. And the next thing you know, I'm sitting on 6 amps. So
he's not lying. That's the truth.
I loan a lot of gear out too, though. Like, if somebody's stuff goes down, like at a show, which has happened several times, usually the first one running up there with an amp head or a guitar. Or if a guitarist who I won't name decides that my guitar is not good enough for him that night, he'll know when he sees his interview. I didn't know he had strings, so I'm just busting his balls. But yeah, I went to hand him a guitar and he looked at it like it was poverty. I was like, yo, this is a $2,300 guitar. I can promise you that boat or you're playing is nothing compared to what I was trying to offer you. So I'll make sure I tag who I'm talking about. He's in one of the bands that we talked about earlier.
Gotcha. But again, it's just that idea of just over preparing at times. It does come in handy where even though it's like sometimes, you bring maybe too much stuff, but at times it is better to have it and not need it than to not have it and need it, because otherwise, if you wouldn't have brought that acoustic guitar and all of a sudden you guys get the message that you're playing that acoustic set at the Hell's a Poppin' tent, then it's, what do you do at that point?
Karaoke. Yeah, because we weren't missing that because we got artist bands for that Thursday and Friday, and then we ended up scoring artist bands for Saturday, and we exploited that system quite a bit.
It's good to have friends that are also playing.
Yeah, that's the thing is we had a few North Carolina bands that we knew that were up there. But Thursday we scored the green bands, Friday was the red bands for when we actually played the big stage at Blue Ridge, and Saturday was the orange bands, and I call those the contra bands because I got those secondhand from another band that had extras, but we had traded earlier. So yeah, I would like to do Blue Ridge again for 2 reasons. 1, it was awesome, and 2, we didn't pay for any food, and those little Debbie cookies, oh man.
Well, they were the grandma cookies.
Yeah,
the grandma cookies.
Yeah, they soak them in butter and they'll give you diabetes. And I was pocketing them. I've never eaten anything like that in my life. So, Casey, our drummer, might have some opinions on stuff. He never talks in interviews.
I don't like to talk.
Let's see if we can get him to do it now.
Hey, look, he doesn't even talk in our group chat. So, Kevin, this is your opportunity. You need to ask Casey some questions.
I chime in when necessary.
Grill his ass out, man. Ask him the 3 questions.
I've answered his.
Yeah, he already answered the 3 questions that when I had him on the first time last year.
I'm gonna have to watch the first time because I bet the 3rd question was we were out with BJ one night. I'm like, yep.
I might have to go back and see what Kay said, because it might have been, we were out this one night and then this and this happened and then and then that was it.
There's this mythical creature named BJ that I have yet to meet, but I know everything about him. I'm sure Casey has told me his social security number at least twice by now, and I've never met this person. I met his little brother, and he's really cool. But BJ is this legendary person out here in wherever this place is that we're called.
BFE.
Yeah. And I hear a lot of stories about this guy. So I'm looking forward to potentially meeting him Saturday.
I feel like every group of people has some person around them where it's, about them, a lot about them, but you've never seen them. So you're not necessarily sure if they actually exist. Cause there was once we had something like that at a friend group where someone talked about their sister. We didn't even know the guy had a sister, and he was talking about her for years. We didn't even believe that she was a real person until he had a birthday party this past year. And it was okay, all of a sudden this girl walks and we're like, who are you? I'm his sister. You're alive? You're real? I feel like that's going to be you on Saturday, Chris. BJ, you're real? No shit.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it's going to be like, man. Yeah.
Well, how about I put Casey on the spot a little bit so we can actually get him to talk?
Shit.
Hide behind the couch.
So Casey, we'll go back to Blue Ridge specifically. When it comes to the experience of being on stage, what was that like from your perspective?
Absolutely terrifying. It's the first time in my entire life playing music where I looked up, I saw the crowd of people, and I was just like, nope. And I just looked back down towards the guys in front of me. I couldn't look much past the guardrail.
Well, good thing, because I was right on the guardrail, probably looking at you just just because, I thought it was probably funny.
I actually think I do remember seeing you. You were just off to the left of me a little bit.
Yeah, because I was
there.
There were a lot of people, but I remember I was on the guardrail. I was a lot closer to Shane's side.
Okay, maybe let's do it. Fuck.
He weren't looking for you. He already said he was terrified. So
it was he got to the guardrail and it's they stop and it's all of a sudden, so it's just a blurry face probably in his memory from right up here.
Pretty much. I couldn't just it was weird for me. That was a first experience of a crowd that size. And I didn't know how to react.
Well, I mean, when you don't know how to react, you reacted by playing your ass off for the 25, 30 minutes you guys got to play. So
it
was a pretty good reaction.
Did my job. That's what counts.
So because like Chris had said, you guys had gotten artist bands, for Thursday for the acoustic, you got them for Friday because you were playing, also got them for Saturday through tradesies and whatnot. When it came to some of the other days that you guys had, what were some of the highlights that you had? Potentially, maybe meeting some other bands that were out there, hanging out with some people. What were the highlights?
Seeing Avatar live.
I will say I didn't get to meet a lot of bands, but seeing Avatar, I finally got to see Suicidal Tendencies, which was up on the top of my list.
And drugs.
And
The band.
The band, yeah.
Yes, I'm aware of the band Drex. I was at that show as well.
I did get to watch Body Count play too, and that was pretty cool.
Body Count was nice. Trivium.
It was cool for me because a bunch of the rising stars, as we were called, that was playing, we knew a lot of those guys.
War.
So with us playing and the way that we felt, that we all felt the same way. So like to see everybody on like that elevated plane for that whole experience was, that's what you do it for.
And Dino threw the hell down.
Yeah, I caught their set early in the day. That was awesome. One of my favorite parts was actually watching Casey during Shade of Red, and then rewatching because the singer for Death Uriah was there, and he's the one that filmed our Blue Ridge set that's on YouTube and all that stuff. So I exploit multiple band members for purposes. But watching Casey play that live and then going back and watching it, because they struck the kit. So Casey's kit was tucked back there perfectly. And like, I've seen Casey in multiple other bands throughout the years, but he just was in the zone. And I've never seen even my other drummer. I mean, he hadn't experienced a crowd like that, but Casey was just so dimed in. Like, it looked like he was just back there machining it it looked like he elliptical with a fat lady on it. Because, I mean, he was just giving it hell, but it was so friggin' awesome the way he was doing it. I don't know. I notice shit like that because I give them hell all the time because I'm constantly recording B-roll, and I record a lot of what we do when we play live, like we recorded Fuel. I'm going to compile that together for something.
We have that behind the scenes video where you were just filming where I drank the cigarette water.
Yeah.
Oh God.
The scenes video, but I'm kind of like Dime was back at Pantera. Like I'm always filming stuff, and because I mean B-roll is awesome because music's one thing, but a band has to have a personality as well. Because if it's just music and you can't make a connection with the people inside the band, people aren't really going to care. I mean, if I say, give me an example of what Adam D from Kill Switch Engage is like, you can tell me he's a goofball, but he's amazing on stage. But he's amazing in both realms. You see what I'm saying? But
yeah, I see what you're saying. And using Adam as a perfect example, because when I saw Killswitch play it when they did Knotfest, Adam was just hysterical on stage.
God, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
Any of our like stuff that you see on our Facebook page that makes you chuckle was made by him. So he brings the fun.
But the problem is that they don't know how friggin' funny they are until they watch it back. I mean, hell, he had friggin' Shane on a cart dolly and damn near ramped his ass off a speed bump. We were at the hotel, but we had a good time. Shane almost died in the elevator. Like, Blue Ridge almost didn't happen. We got in the elevator and he swallowed wrong for the 8th time that day.
Casey farted.
Oh, is that what happened?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, Blue Ridge Diary Part 3, Shane's dying in an elevator. And then, like, I posted, like, that clip montage of just all the B-roll stuff, and Blue Ridge liked it, and it got shared on Blue Ridge's page, and of course, like I said, Carrier Pigeon Shane, like there's some kid in Taiwan right now getting off of work at midnight, and he's seen that video because of what Shane does. Yeah.
There was a bunch of like near-death experiences at Blue Ridge.
Honestly. Blue Ridge was interesting.
The band. We ramped my van over a set of train tracks. I don't know how the train tracks are there in Wisconsin, but I tell you what, I wasn't prepared for Virginia because it was like this. And Rachel, Cody's wife, was in the back seat. Cody was back there. Casey, Shane, all of us. And I didn't see it in time. I was like, well, this is it. And I hit the train tracks doing 40, and we hit it, and I had no steering. And I look back.
We were airborne.
I look back. Rachel's head is above where I can see. Thankfully, the van has like a pretty tall alcove because it's like a camper van type of deal. Her head's gone. And I look at Cody. Cody tells his part of the story better than I can, so he's going to tell that part of the story. But they all went up.
We call air.
We hit the ground, and the hitch smacked the ground. They're like, "Your hitch is gone." I was like, "I bet you $100 it's still back there."
There's a piece of pavement missing though.
The van, it earned its rite of passage that day because I mean we ramped a 4,800-pound vehicle. Just I don't even know. I was trying to get us back to the hotel. I think after Thursday night.
Yeah, we left Thursday night, head back to the hotel.
Have you ever seen the movie Inception?
Yes.
Okay, so you know the scene where the van like drives off the bridge and like falling in slow motion?
Yeah.
that's pretty much like what happened.
Oh,
Like I'm airborne trying to grab the handle, and like I passed the handle before I'm able to like grab it. So by the time I'm closed fist, I've passed the handle again, and I'm pretty sure I have like 3 fractured vertebrae.
It's so hard.
All I cared about were the amps.
Oh, I didn't even think about. Yeah, I had 3 amps in the back, and Shane's like, "What about the amps?" I was like, shit, I didn't think about that."
They were all good. They all
I was
like landed
convinced that
sideways.
I had killed at least 2 of them. That's what I was worried about. And Shane was like, "No, they're fine. What about the amps?" It's like, "What about the people?" It was quiet for like 10 seconds after that, and then Casey finally was like, "You ran the fuck out of nowhere."
Everyone was worried about completely different things. Some worried about the amp, some worried about the people, some worried about the hitch. You had Cody that was just worried about grabbing his handle, but why is my head above it already?
Yeah, because they didn't see it coming until the last second. I was like, "Shit."
Yeah, we're like
Oh god,
we're just talking and bullshit, and then all I hear is Vance up front going, "Shit!" I look and just see train tracks,
Yeah, it was.
and there's no preparing for it.
Yeah, it was awesome. I would do it again. 10 out of 10. Thankfully, we didn't have the trailer on it.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the
I
look.
had to buy them a trailer because the trailer wouldn't have made that.
I don't think all the gear would have survived that.
That might have been a different story.
That trailer would have swung around and popped the van.
That would have been the story of how we almost played Blue Ridge. Yeah.
So if you would have the trailer on there, that trailer could have either like just, gone down a different street on its own, or would have like, completely done a 180, and all of a sudden you guys are driving down, all of a sudden, here's Casey looking out the side of the window, and all of a sudden here's the trailer right next to you guys, continue to go. It's like, that's not supposed to happen.
Well, ever since that, we've really eyeballed train tracks, like even going to Fuel and Cherry Point. Like
whoa,
Yeah.
slow down.
Anytime we see like railroad markings, we slow it way down. But I will do it again. I have not learned my lesson because I lived through it. So
Say if you come to Wisconsin, I think it'll be a little bit of a different story with the train tracks, because I live literally like a block away from a set of train tracks, and they're pretty much like dug in, and it's like when you get up to them, it's like there's a little bit of a hill to get up to them, but then it flattens out right away. So it's like when you go over them, you're not like bouncing like crazy over them, or you're not gonna get fully airborne off of it. You're gonna stay pretty level.
the ones in Virginia aren't supposed to be like that. I don't think they're like 3 feet.
It was a smaller road.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing. We did Brewstock. That's another festival we forgot to mention that we played. We played Brewstock a few weeks back.
Brewstock with a bunch of amazing
Man,
bands.
it took us down this wild path where like the road was the width of my van, but it was 2-way. And they have a big TV in the back so they can like play video games and stuff while we're driving back to kill time. And I have curtains behind the driver's seat to block that light out. And so they're back there having fun. And I'm up front fighting for my life because I'm like watching this road disappear and reappear and stuff like that. But
That was South Carolina roads, though.
Yeah,
They were getting
yeah.
sketchy.
these roads you could tell had been dirt for years, and they just like shit gravel on them the week prior to us driving on them, you know. So that was fun. Brewstock was a lot of fun too.
There's a lot of great bands on
Yeah,
that.
we got to network with a lot of bands that we hadn't met yet.
I didn't throw my back out for
So-
Brewstock.
But yep, that was a good time for sure. Of course, we're trying to hit every major festival we possibly can next year. Shane's gunning for Metal in the Mountains in West Virginia, correct?
Yeah, I'd like to get us on. We'd like to get on Metal in the Mountains, you know. Obviously Blue Ridge again, and
Anybody else that'll take
just
us.
anyone else that would take us, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing we've tried to do this year, man. It's not so much just worry about festivals, but I mean, in any shows that we can play where we can get out in front of people that haven't heard our music before, that's
Yeah.
what we want to do. So busy. We want to stay busy all the time. Get out there and play as much as possible. If we're not playing, we want to be in the studio. If we're not in the studio, we want to be shooting a music video. I mean, we just want to constantly be doing something, you know, go ahead and try to make something of this while we can.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. Are you guys trying to do any try and get any of the Danny Wimmer Presents ones? Because I've seen a lot of bands that had in the podcast.
We've been trying.
The Danny Wimmer Presents, we've been on their channel quite a bit. We did Starving Artists. We made it. We got second place
Yeah,
for
in
the
the
September
finals,
contest in the finals.
And then this past bracket they did, we got bumped off the first round, but we had the most votes per.
And we ended up-
bands, and Shane got,
We got a Blackcraft endorsement from them.
But Shane's very active on Twitch, dude. There's nobody.
So
I can't think of anybody that can touch Shane on Twitch because he's got his own channel. Plus, he networks for the band and stuff. Like, He lives on his computer, but he does a lot for the social media side of things.
We're definitely gonna push on there again, but after we get new music released.
Yep.
Understandable, because if you get more music released, then you can go on there, you can present some new music to more people, and then you might end up having a song that just really encapsulates everything that you guys are doing, so that all of a sudden, you know, people listen to like that song, and all of a sudden it's like you can go in any direction from there. And when it comes to your music, it's like, oh, you go in a more hard rock way, you go more metal, you know, maybe go a little bit more like that classic rock way, just bing bang boom. It's going to be useful. It could easily happen.
The new music that we're recording is definitely a lateral move compared to the first 3 songs that were put out. I mean, they stand on their own, but like I said, none of that has any of my merit on it. That was all these guys. But the 3 that we're putting out, I think it really shows what everybody's good at so much better than what's already out there. It really shows how powerful of a vocalist Cody is, how absolutely disgusting on the drums Casey is, and how great Shane is on bass and backing screams. It's just, it's a more broad sound, but in my opinion, it's a heavier sound.
Yeah,
Sure.
we're in the studio right now. We're basically done with 3 songs, and we're kind of trying to decide whether we want to stop with that or if we want to go ahead and add some more. Again, you know, since this year has been active as far as playing shows, and I think we talked to you a little bit about it last time, you know, if we're not really playing a whole lot of shows, we don't really want to be putting out a lot of music because we can't go out there and promote it and display it the way that we should. So now that things have kind of opened back up and we're able to get out there, you know, we've been in the studio for a little while now, but, you know, we've also been playing Blue Ridge and these other festivals. So again, like I was saying earlier, you know, we've been busy. But to touch on what Chris said, this new stuff that we're coming out is, I guess I could probably say, a lot more mature than what the other stuff is.
Definitely.
We'll have hard copies.
That's really just
Eventually.
like you were talking about Arise earlier. You know, that was our complete
That was song
introduction. You
1.
know, that was baby steps. You know, we just want to say, you know, this is kind of what we're capable, but this isn't everything. It's a little bit of soft, a little bit of hard. And then we done Break New Ground and Awaken. And all 3 of those songs, in my opinion, they're all very different from each other. All 3 of those tracks are their own kind of thing.
And I think you get the same dynamic out of the next 3.
Yeah,
They're very
the next
diverse.
3 that we're doing, they're same as far as being dynamic, but again, I do feel like they're a lot more. I like the term dynamic versus mature. I mean, they're not that old or young between them, but I mean, these songs here, they're. Once you hear them, you can be like, okay, I see why you put these 3 out first the way you did and kind of save these 3 for now.
I will say I feel like we've been pushed a lot harder on these 3. Like we're working with a producer, recording engineer that's new to us, and he is definitely like pushing it.
And I'm a hard on too.
Yeah, he's throwing more in there too.
I'm not talking about that. Like I said, if something's butt ass, I'll say something real quick.
Yeah, we're actually at a new studio. The original 3 songs that we did was at Black Plate. And this new studio that we're using right now, he's got a totally different way of doing things, but I actually prefer this method, I think, compared to the 2. And his opinion is extremely valued in this band, and I think it's kind of helped make us better as musicians. So I'm excited for you and everybody else to hear this new stuff. It's getting close.
Yeah. Shout out to Blake Matthews at Clarity Audio
and his band.
Yeah,
with Clarity.
Yep.
Awesome guys. And yeah, I'm looking forward to putting the new stuff out.
Looking forward to hearing the new stuff. I mean, some like I said, like when it came to the stuff at Blue Ridge, like hearing the songs that I had not heard before and hearing some of like the heavier stuff, the unclean, I'm just like, dynamic is a good way to put it, because if you say mature, it sounds like there's a little bit more of this like setness in that way, where it's like, okay, you know what you're gonna get. Also, it kind of feels like a little bit more older in a way. But when you say dynamic, it allows for a lot more lateral movement, allows for more vertical movement in terms of whatever you're gonna do with certain pace, sound, tones. If you're gonna go heavier, lighter, vocals, whatever you're gonna do, it's. As long as it's got you guys at the core, though, and we can tell, you know, it's like, okay, even with all the dynamics, like we know this has got the emotion, it's got the whole entire feel and vibe of To Begin Anew, then it's going to be, no matter what way you go, people are going to connect with that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these 3 songs, everything, and this is just my opinion, everything with these 3 songs is miles better than what the original 3. I mean, the guitars are I mean, we're not a technical playing band, but the guitars are more methodical. Vocals are a lot more experimental as far as, that's probably some of the best work I've ever done vocally with these 3 upcoming songs.
Yeah, you went
and I mean, just everything is just, I was happy with the original 3, but where this new stuff is at now, I'm really excited on getting it out.
It's basically going like, in a sense, how we planned it. We wanted each song to just push us a little farther and get better.
In any band, though, you really heavily critique old work with new work. Like, I'm the same way.
Well, you've heard our actual recording of the original 3, especially like Break New Ground and Arise. And I don't know if you remember, but like Arise, we don't even play it the same way live as what the recording is. I mean, it's got a lot more changes to it as far as like vocals, and some of the guitar parts are completely different now.
And that happens with songs that you record. I mean, it like I said, my other band, same thing. We record it one way and then you build on it. I mean, it happens with like, I don't know if you're fans of like Slipknot or any of the bigger bands, but like if you listen to the album versions of like Vermilion or any of those songs and the leads that are on that song and you watch them do it live, it's nothing like that. But Jim is very adamant about, he doesn't want you to come listen to a CD with 5 guys or 8, 9 guys on stage. He wants you to come and have an experience that's unique to every single show that they play.
That's what keeps people coming back.
Yeah,
what am I going to see this time?
You want to listen to the CD, you can do that at home.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's like with me, that's why I love going to live shows, because there's a lot of different things I get to see and experience, and a lot of different sounds you get to hear. Because, yeah, you're going to hear the songs and you're going to end up experiencing songs, but it's a lot different. Use a couple examples. Like, I love going to see Ice Nine Kills play live. I saw them 4 times in the span of 2 weeks, but it's just, their live set is so ridiculously fun with all the horror they put in there. It's like, I can't help but not go. Plus, just the music is fun as all hell. I love going to see Rise Against, and anytime Tim breaks out the acoustic guitar to sing like Swing Life Away, it's got a whole different feel behind it than it does on the album, but it's still just as beautiful. Using Falling in Reverse as an example, every time I hear Drugs on a recording versus live, I like it live so much more because it adds a little more of this darker depthness to it with the electronics that makes it actually feel a little bit more like you're on, like you kind of might be on drugs, but it might be in like the negative side of things. So it just adds so much more to it on that side of things. Plus with like Slipknot as well, because I got to go see Slipknot Roadshow when they came through Milwaukee, and just the amount of extra, like maybe a little bit more of the mix, they add a little bit more towards the percussive side of things. So it's like you have the drum in the back, but you have the other 2 guys like banging on like the kettles and the kegs and shit. Like they up the volume on the mix just a little bit more. It adds so much more to the experience. Like what you're talking about when you guys played Arise, it did sound a little bit different compared to the recorded version, but it has the same motion, has the same feeling, but you're getting it in a completely different way because you're live, you're hearing it, and you're feeling the emotion coming out from you guys, from the guitars, from the bass, from the drums, and from Cody's vocals as well.
Right.
Are you a big Rise Against fan?
Yes.
Did you like the remix of Nowhere Generation with Meg Myers?
I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I'm not that big of a fan of a lot of remixes though, so I kind of shied away from it. But
check it out.
What was that?
You should check it out. Give it another listen. She's wicked talented. And it was weird to see the collab between the 2 of them, but they're both on Sumerian now.
Gotcha. I will give it another shot because, well, yeah, why not? You never know, because there's sometimes I listen to certain songs and like I could be in one headspace and it just doesn't hit for me, and then I listen to it again maybe a couple months later, maybe a year later, a couple years later, and it's just, you get a completely different feel from it. But when it comes to the titular song itself, like I really like the song itself, so every time I see a remix, I'm kind of like a little bit more hesitant on it, but I should definitely give it a shot again.
Don't know about, like, it could be a dubstep remix, or it could be like, some off the wall slow reverb. That's like the big thing right now is a lot of people will take like heavy songs and like slow them down and just throw it down on hallway with reverb, and they're like, oh, this is edgy. No, it's 7 minutes long when it was a 3-minute song.
What was it? Smells Like Teen Spirit. I heard one like that recently. It was not for me.
Yep.
I was like, when it comes to like some of the remix stuff, like I'll use Rise Against as an example, and they did this whole entire thing called the Ghost Note Symphonies, where they basically reimagined like 10 of their songs. They did this whole entire like acoustic but orchestral side behind it as well. I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. I listen, I'm like, this was surprisingly really well done. Like each song still feels this. Each song still, you can tell it's the same song. The emotions are still the same, but they hit you in 2 completely different ways.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to have to go and take a listen to that other remix of Nowhere Generation once again because, well, like I said, why not? I might be in a different headspace now than I was back when it came out around, I think it was either June or July. So yeah, why not?
It was a very sly release. It was like very low key, so a lot of people missed it. But shout out to Meg, she's awesome.
Shout out to Meg. Well, another question I got for you guys is, because you talked about some of the live shows you played. Any cool live shows coming up for the rest of the year or into 2022? What kind of plans do you have? Not just music wise, because we already talked about it a little bit, but like live show wise.
Concert calendar.
Well, no, we've got. I think we just booked one today, so I don't know the full bill on it, but it's going to be our home venue. What was the date on that? Was it sometime in
December or something?
Yeah,
it's a Thursday.
It was in mid-December, and that's probably actually going to be our last show of the year. We've got 3 more left. We've got a. You want to tell them about the Hope House? Explain that.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing like a Toys for Tot charity event with this other band called Villain Over Heroes.
16th.
At Top Heavy Productions. It's a Twitch channel for house shows for hope, basically. And then December 4th.
It's actually the Hope House show is going to be streamed on Twitch, so that'll be available for anybody that has Twitch can actually watch us perform that night.
Yeah, over at Top Heavy Productions, which we'll be sharing on all our socials, especially when we go live.
And that one's in November. We've got one at the beginning of December in Asheville. It's on the other side of the state. It's about a 4-hour ride.
Try about 6.
6. Okay, excuse me. It's a local show. We're playing one of our brother bands, Nova Omega. If you haven't checked them out, you should check them out. They're pretty good.
Yeah, Nova Omega, Defile the Crown.
Defile the Crown. They're right down the road from us too. I'm featured on one of their songs coming up on their album. They're dropping an album soon. You should check them out as well.
Foul Line, Amnesis, and the Shrunken Heads.
I'm glad you could read that flyer.
At the Sly Grog Lounge.
Sly Grog Lounge. It's in Asheville, and then like I said, we booked the one today.
December the 16th.
December 16th, and it's at Hooligans Music Hall, and that's probably going to be our last show of the year. So it kind of worked out good us getting offered that one because that'll be kind of our year closer, and it's in our home venue. So hopefully we can try to get a bunch of people out on that one, but.
And take some time off for Christmas.
We're usually towards the end of the year. It's just something that we've all kind of decided with this project. We try to slow down because people are doing a lot of traveling for the holidays and stuff. So we want to try to, especially as busy as we have been this year, just to kind of slow down a little bit here at the end and kind of recoup and figure out what we want to do for next year.
But we are booking next year.
Yeah, we'd like to go full time, tour wise.
It's hard to do.
We're booking next year right now. But just as far as our schedule goes, we want to focus on what we've got this year first, and then kind of start promoting that stuff whenever it gets a little bit closer. But like we mentioned, anything and everything. If we can get out there and play our music to new people, obviously, the more the merrier. We'd like to have bigger opportunities. But we were busy this year, and I'd care to say let's do double as hard next year. So
sounds good to me.
I mean, if you guys go double as hard as you did this year, I mean, you guys got on Blue Ridge, you guys got on a couple other festivals, you guys are doing a couple of main shows like the one with Toys for Tots, but if you go double as hard next year, I mean, with Carrier Pigeon Chain, you never know, especially on Twitch, what you guys might get into. If you guys finish second on that one Damon Presents tournament kind of style thing, you never know. Also, what happens when you finish first at some point, all of a sudden when Welcome to Rockville comes back in May once again, you guys could be on one of the stages for that. All of a sudden, I mean, I've seen that happen before with a couple other bands I've had in the podcast, so it's easily on the game. Or if they bring back Epicenter or any other festival, all of a sudden you guys might get on Incarceration, or, you get some other festivals, a bit further west down by, maybe my area in the Midwest, or even further out west, like go out to maybe Texas, Denver, maybe even out to California, out of nowhere. You never know, but it's...
Eventually.
Texas! I want to go fuck
That's
California
definitely the plan.
That's one cool thing about us being in North Carolina, man, especially as far as the East Coast and kind of towards the middle part of the country, we're kind of in the middle of everything. So as far as, going north to go play some shows and going south, it's really not that far for us. We've got the interstate system. We're right in the middle of the major interstates here where we're at. So
I've made it to Pennsylvania in 7 hours, so it's not too bad.
We can jump on and roll, man. So yeah, I'd love to come see you next year up there towards your way.
Yeah, see what happens if all of a sudden, if you can get on the Rockfest bill, because that's in northern Wisconsin. If you guys get on the Rockfest bill, it's gonna make me have to get a ticket to go up there.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Make it happen.
I mean, I'm just throwing out ideas for you guys, but it's going to be something where everyone that's listening to the podcast, I mean, when it comes to that North Carolina scene as well, it's especially with how tight-knit of a family you guys are with, not only with the people that are in that scene in terms of the fans, but also with all the other bands as well. It's going to be something where as you guys continue to grow as a band, along with all the other bands, all you guys, as everyone continues to grow, the support is going to be there consistently. So as bands continue to grow and start to branch out and go other places as well, maybe go start touring down a little more in Florida, go up the East Coast, come to the Midwest, even go out West as well. There's still going to be that home family vibe that you guys have in the scene in North Carolina right now. And it's just going to end up creating something where I feel like if you guys go out on tour more and get to some of these other festivals, you're going to see that there's going to be a lot of other places that have similar mindsets when it comes to the rock and metal scene, when it has similar emotions behind it, where it's we're here to be a family, we're here to support everybody, and as you guys branch out, you're going to see that, and it's just kind of the positivity is just going to radiate to a point where you guys are going to feel it all of a sudden. Now, instead of having, now that there's still always going to be regional scenes, but maybe we can bring a lot of these regional scenes and make a little bit more of like we all know each other and it's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What else? We've been told we've got to go to Arizona sometime too.
Okay, going to Arizona next year.
Yeah,
you heard it here first.
No, what was it? They said there was I think it was on the Blue Ridge Fan Zone page. She was talking about she missed seeing us at Blue Ridge, but they're from Arizona and want us to
Shout
go down
out to
there.
Kemper, because that way we can fly to shows.
Speak for yourself.
I'm sure somebody's got a house kit.
I don't do house kits. Not happening.
He has to use his drum set, which is understandable.
Yeah.
So everyone else will fly there, and then Casey will be driving there in like a Subaru Outback with a little trailer on the back with his kit. Just, all right, I got a 2-day drive. Let's go.
I think the band that just did that, actually. I clowned them pretty hard on that.
Seems like that was Iowa, wasn't it?
It was definitely Iowa, Will.
Oh, I know what band. I know exactly what show you're talking about, which is even better.
Yeah. I give him all the time, though.
He's a homie. He knows.
I talk with him on a daily basis because I have a group chat with him and my guys for the recording crap, and then we have our own group. I've been like 20 group chats, man. It's so much to keep up with.
He's the face of the scene, man. Everybody, if you don't know Chris, you ain't shit.
If you don't know Chris, you ain't shit. That might be the slogan for the end of this podcast. If you don't know Chris, you ain't shit. ... As said by Cody.
There's our next t-shirt design right there.
Can we give some shout outs to bands?
Absolutely.
Time.
Yeah, I know.
Jesus, Shane.
All right, Shane, rattle them off. Go. 30 seconds.
All right, 7 Letter, Seasons RVA, War, Defile the Crown,
Too slow. Faster.
Head Trip Trauma. You
Yeah.
give some.
Celeris.
Celerus, Solomon Grundy,
Yes.
Faith and Scars.
Death of Uriah.
Death of Uriah,
You spent.
Nova Omega,
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
Dinos,
Yes.
Redefined,
Yep.
Haymaker.
Yeah.
Man,
You need a new shirt. He had
shout out to
having sell
Haymaker.
the
I
back-
need a new
the
shirt.
The shirt at Blue Ridge. He sold.
I
to
sold the
somebody.
shirt off of my
'Cause they
back.
wanted it.
Somebody
I think
wanted
it was
it
while
that
you were hanging
bad.
out with us at the merch booth is when all that happened. A girl's like, "I'll give you $40 for that shirt." And
That's
man,
right.
Yeah.
It was a Haymaker shirt. He had to go back to the van and get another shirt.
Yeah, I got called fatty on the way back to the van too.
Yeah.
Way to go, self-esteem.
Which is funny because he's skinnier than all of us.
Yeah.
I hear, hey fatty, you want to ride? Yes, I do. I hopped in the back of a golf cart.
I totally forgot about that. Oh yeah, that's fucking hysterical. Remember, yeah, because that person really wanted that fuck shirt. He was like, yeah, here you go. Got the money for it, drove back. But a couple other bands to shout out as well. Even though we mentioned them too before, Hollow Intent and Waking Terra.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
We shout them out so much we forget to sometimes. So
I just want to add them in there because there was a couple that I had in mind, and Shane took one of mine with his second pick was Seasons, and then gotta make sure Dying Oath is in there. And they put in there, I'm like, yeah, there we go.
yeah, for sure.
And then
It seems like every time I go to talk, I have brain farts. Like I just
Well, I mean, you forgot about Death of Uriah, and the guitar for Death of Uriah To Begin Anew is literally right there. You forgot all about it. What the hell, man?
whip me later.
I feel like also with that list, of all the bands you shot, I'm gonna go back in this. I'm gonna literally write down like almost every single and be like, okay, check out their stuff, try and bring them on the podcast. It's just gonna be like this whole thing where it's like, okay, the whole North Carolina scene's gonna be on this podcast.
Yep. Well, like we said, man, you were our first interview, so
first.
You always have a special place in our heart, man.
Yeah, I think that was it was your first interview. I think that was my 103rd or 104th episode, and now I'm almost to 250, and we're still doing this thing. So
yeah,
we're just gonna keep it rolling.
I got to be honest. I saw you blasting ass on that recorder, and I didn't know what this was. That was insane.
That was an idea that came up from a band from Sweden because I brought up something with it, and they're like, "You should do like some crazy, like crappy, like." Covers with like a recorder. I forgot why I brought the recorder thing, but I'm like, okay, let's do it. And then I started doing it.
Two at my house. I have 2 recorders at my house.
Yeah, you're in hell right now, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah. He hears hot cross buns in his sleep. Yeah,
actually, no, it's mostly just high-pitched squeals. There's no actual notes. It's just as loud as possible.
They could be teaching us how to file taxes and all that, but instead they're like, here's a recorder.
He has 2 kids. That explains the 2 random recorders. He didn't really clear that up. He has 2 kids. So he don't just start blowing ass on 2 random ass recorders.
No. Blowing ass on 2 random ass recorders, that's my job, man.
I was about to say that'd suck if you're doing it with 1 and you saw Casey up there doing a video with 2.
Hey, I've got my original one, and at Blue Ridge, the band Kill the Imposter, because that's kind of where it all started, where it was we talked about putting a recorder in a deathcore song, because I saw their set, and their lead singer gave me his recorder. So that's the recorder I use now for all the crappy cover videos.
We should do what your pain sounds like with a recorder instead of a harmonica.
No.
Hold on to it and smack you in the knees.
No.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Like a terribly good idea, though.
Have you seen the videos? They'll put a harmonica in their mouth and somebody just hit their knees to see what the pain sounds like. And it's freaking hilarious.
Sounds like Jill.
I've seen one of those, but I got to go on YouTube and watch a bunch more of those later tonight because that's just going to make me laugh and just be like, yeah, this is funny.
Other people's pain is funny.
Other
What
people's
part
pain.
of Wisconsin are you in?
What was that?
What part of Wisconsin are you in?
I'm in Milwaukee.
Oh, wow. How's it going?
It's it's going. The weather's starting to get a little bit colder out here.
I was genuinely curious. I didn't think he was going to say he was right in the heart of Milwaukee.
We got some good bands coming our way. Over October I got to see A Day to Remember. I got to see The Who here in Milwaukee. Got to see let's see who else. Black Veil Brides in this moment. So we're still kicking here in Milwaukee.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, y'all were making headlines for all the wrong reasons. That's when you said that. I was like, oh.
Oh, we're always making headlines for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, that's what's up.
The only time we made headlines this year for the right reasons was when the Bucks won the title.
It's not Florida though. At least it's not Florida.
Hey man, Florida's a different breed of human being altogether. You know, crocodiles on purpose.
You don't fuck with Florida man.
Yeah, don't call them.
There's a specific man in Florida. You don't mess with him. It's everywhere.
There's a whole subreddit called Florida Man. You ought to check it out, dude. Like stuff that you and I read, like you would never think of. They do in Florida.
Oh, there was one time I did the Florida. It was like I think I saw it online. It was called the Florida Man Challenge, where it's you just search by Google Florida Man, and then you put in your birthday and you see what happens. And mine was it was like Florida Man arrested for mowing lawn naked. I'm like, that actually seems kind of cool to have it as my one. So yeah.
In the article, they'll let you know that he was actually on his roof when he was mowing the lawn naked. That's Florida. I cannot wait to play Florida.
Yeah, I'd really love to play Florida.
I feel like that one might happen in the coming
That
year.
whole state just ignored
that out.
COVID. That was like trippy to watch from here because they're just like, nah, we're not participating. I mean, they never shut down or nothing. Not based on anything I saw.
We can roll down and fuck kill while we're down there.
I mean, you can't really tell, somebody how to live their life down there when they are in the news for like training alligators to kill people like more than once. It's happened more than once. It's happened several times.
I actually saw something on that. They were coming to repo her car and they had left her freaking alligator in the car.
Yes, it's happened multiple times. This is not a one-time occurrence.
Like they're gonna go and like repo this car. They're gonna look at the alligator in there and say, another one of those. It's gonna be a normal thing at this point where all of a sudden cars are gonna get repossessed and there's gonna be alligators in there and they're just not gonna care anymore. They probably don't even care now.
Also, the tow truck drivers are probably just like, get out of here, just throw it out.
Just get. Oh god, yeah, you guys got to go down and play Florida and just have a absolute blast doing it. But don't rent a box truck and attach your trailer to it and forget to go to the weigh station on your way in because you might get pulled over and there might be one of you guys in the box truck drinking, drunk, down in your underwear, just sitting there going to the cop when he opens up, "What's up?"
I'll do that sober.
Yeah, that may have
just saying.
There's a chance that may have already happened. Maybe.
We were wrestling.
We were wrestling. All of a sudden, you guys came prepared. There's an alligator in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might be something they haven't seen yet. Though. All of a sudden, guy wrestling an alligator in a box truck.
You got to be careful with these stories you tell, man, because somebody's going to one up everything that everybody's heard. I thought the Viagra one was up there pretty high, but I'll be shopping gators on eBay later.
Hey, if it happens and I get to hear about it, then, I'm going to broadcast it to everybody because all of a sudden we're going to have more crazy stories to tell and more great music to show people on this podcast, which is always a good time.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
We got to start doing more dumb shit, apparently. We've been tame as far as such stuff goes.
See, it feels like you guys got to start hanging out the Waking Terror guys more when it comes to some of the crazy stuff. You'll get right on it.
Yeah, we're good.
That's crazier than I can handle anymore.
They can hang out with the Death of Uriah guys. That's enough crazy for us.
Yeah, us and any of those bands like that get together, it's guaranteed somebody's probably going to get in some type of legal situation.
Yeah.
Shit, I have to fly to North Carolina and see what happens during a couple of shows if you guys are all together.
If you could get a 4-day and we could give you notice on it, we could probably get a lot of the bands mentioned, maybe 3 or 4 of them mentioned at Hooligans
all
on
one
the
show
same night and bring you down here. You'd have a killer time, man.
Oh, I know. I absolutely would have a killer time. I might have to try and plan something like that for 2022 because, live music back. We missed out on all of 2020. I tried making up for it in 2021, but I still got a lot to go for 2022. So,
yep.
We'll make it a plus. I mean, from what I saw at Blue Ridge with a lot of people that are from North Carolina and from that scene, it was absolutely incredible being able to see shows with them, go in those pits with them. So, I'm down to do it again. Anytime.
Yeah,
cool, man.
For sure.
Say North Carolina pits get crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy fun.
We throw a lot of variety shows here, too. With Death of Uriah, To Begin Anew, Wake and Terror, all 3 completely different sounding bands. And we've played shows together multiple times. So that's what's really cool about here, too.
Yeah.
You don't have to be genre specific to get thrown on a bill. And that kicks a lot of ass.
Cause that one show we had Bridge to Breakdown, Death of Uriah, Wake and Terror, and
look at G-Paz.
G-Paz was Haymaker, Solomon Grundy,
Yeah.
To Begin Anew, and Attracting the Fall.
Yeah.
Solomon Grundy, Haymaker, like Solomon Grundy, think of along the lines of Bone of Osiris.
Mm-hmm.
Haymaker
it's straight up party core.
They're heavy party core. And then Attracting the Fall is I guess you could say along the lines of
metalcore type.
Yeah, metalcore. And then you had To Begin Anew. here's some bread for the softness,
Soft. He called us soft.
Well, compare. All right, I'm out. Compare to the heaviness of the other 3 bands playing.
Yeah, we get your point.
Understandable, but I mean, if the fact you guys can all be put on the same bill together and people are going to enjoy each and every band, it's makes sense. You guys are on the same bill. That's just incredible. It doesn't have to be genre specific. It just has to be good ass music.
Yeah, for sure.
So, guys, as we bring this podcast to a conclusion, you guys know I like to end this. I love to give you guys a chance to say anything you want to say, promote whatever you want to promote at the end of this podcast. So, guys, floor is yours.
I will say, make sure if you're not already doing it to follow us on social media. The easiest one-stop shop is to go to our .com, www.tobeginAnew.com. You can check us out on Facebook. You can check us out on Spotify. You can check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on
Carrier Pigeon,
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
All of them.
We do have a TikTok.
All of them.
We need to do more.
No, we would
TikTok
appreciate
videos.
any new follows we can get. Like I said, we got our music videos up on YouTube. You can check our stuff out on Spotify. We do have new music coming. We don't have a set date on that, but it is coming. you guys like what you hear, tell your friends about it. We would just love to meet each and every one of you guys watching this, and we thank you for your support, and we thank you, Kevin.
Did you mention the merch store?
We have an online merch store which you can go to on our .com as well. Just click on the little merch tab up there to get yourself some sweet ass gear.
The .com is where it's at.
ToBeginAnew.com, Facebook.com/ToBeginAnew, Instagram.com @ToBeginAnewBand.
Over all this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Twitter's @ToBeginAnewBand.
I'll say, Shane, you can go over all this, but another way we'll make it even easier on everybody is I will put everything in the description of the podcast. YouTube, Spotify, Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Amazon.
Perfect.
Just look at the description of it. You'll find this thing that says Find To Begin Anew online. Socials, the website, the merch, links to the music, whatever is going to be there. I'm going to make it even easier on you guys so you don't have to just go to the website. Like, I'm going to make it even easier. Just as a one-stop shop in the description, or you can go to the one-stop shop at the website. Either or, it's going to be easy as hell to find these guys and support them. So please do.
We'll post it everywhere when it's out as well.
Oh, you guys know I'm going to post it everywhere. I'm going to tag and run ads off it. It's going to happen.
Well, we appreciate it, man. We had a fun. We hope to see you again soon. If it's not at a show, we'd like to see you on podcast again, but we hope to see you at a show sooner rather than later.
I hope so as well. And because of that fact, and Cody, I got to make good on my promise the last time at Blue Ridge. I got to, do that first rounds on me thing, but I didn't get to do it with the rest of the band. So that promise is still going to, be a part of it. Next show I see you guys at, first rounds on me.
If you get with Casey, you'll have to drink like a high C or something because he's like living the straight edge life. He's like full.
Chris doesn't drink either.
He's like full like dad vibes. He's like he's not about that life.
Yeah.
So if you just want to bring me 4 beers, then I'll drink one for everybody.
Hey, I'll take one of those beers.
Yeah.
Hopefully we come to Milwaukee.
Man, you take half of one. I've never
so,
seen you finish one.
Okay, so it's 3 beers and a Capri Sun.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Totally understandable. Well, guys, as we conclude this podcast, there is no way in hell I'm saying goodbye on this one because it was an honor to have you guys on for your first ever podcast back when we did this in 2020. It was awesome to see you guys play live at Blue Ridge and do this episode again. Plus, I got to see you guys play live once again. I'm always going to continue to support you guys and have you back in the podcast in the future in 2022. So, goodbye. Hell no. 2 final. We're going to end it with how I always end it. See you later.
Thanks, man.
Thank
We'll see
you.
Well, folks, that was my interview with the guys from To Begin Anew, Cody, Chris, Casey, and Shane. So, once again, when it comes to being in contact with To Begin Anew, follow along on their socials, follow along on Twitch, making sure you know everything there is to know about the band and listen to their music that's out now and the new stuff that's going to come out. You can go to their website, and you can also look at the description of the podcast for literally everything that you can find on To Begin Anew. You're going to want to follow these guys, and if you're part of that Eastern North Carolina rock scene or North Carolina rock scene, you're going to want to be listening to these podcasts, part of this, because, well, you guys are freaking awesome. I love being a part with this podcast and like bringing these bands on for you guys. Loved moshing with you guys in that Eastern North Carolina scene. Fantastic. We're doing it again. Thanks to Begin Anew again. All their socials, everything. Follow, share, subscribe to their stuff. Listen to music, links, description below. Do the same thing with the Chord Progression Podcast. All our links are there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you're not subscribed to YouTube, Spotify Podcast, iHeartRadio, or Amazon, please do that. If you are, I want to give you a huge thank you because, well, love you guys. Also, thank you to sponsors, Phoenix Fitness and Custom Debuts. All the links for their stuff and our promo codes for both of those sponsors are in the description of the podcast below. After the podcast, because Chris is also in a band called Death of Uriah, look for a podcast coming up from Death of Uriah sometime soon. Oh, yeah. So on that note, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching to the Chord Progression Podcast by the MLC Rocks, Rock and I'll Thrive. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. That's the big, healthy, and hearty. See